Arthur Christopher Orme Plummer CC is a Canadian theatre, film and television actor. He made his film debut in 1958's Stage Struck, and notable film performances include The Sound of Music, The Night of the Generals, Murder by Decree, The Return of the Pink Panther, Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, The Man Who Would Be King, The Insider and 1969 cult classic Lock Up Your Daughters. In a career that spans 7 decades and includes substantial roles in each of the dramatic arts, Plummer is probably best known to film audiences as the autocratic widower Captain Georg Johannes von Trapp in the hit 1965 musical film The Sound of Music alongside Julie Andrews. Plummer has also ventured into various television projects, including the miniseries The Thorn Birds. In the 21st century his film roles include The Insider as Mike Wallace, Inside Man with Denzel Washington, the Disney-Pixar 2009 film Up as Charles Muntz, the Shane Acker production 9 as 1, The Last Station as Leo Tolstoy, The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus as Dr. Parnassus, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo as Henrik Vanger, and Beginners as Hal. Plummer has won numerous awards and accolades for his work, including an Academy Award, 2 Emmy Awards, 2 Tony Awards, a Golden Globe Award, a SAG Award, and a BAFTA Award. With his win at the age of 82 in 2012 for Beginners, Plummer is the oldest actor and person ever to win an Academy Award. Early life: Plummer was born in Toronto, Ontario, the only child of Isabella Mary and John Orme Plummer, who was secretary to the Dean of Sciences at McGill University. Through his mother, Plummer is a great-grandson of Canadian Prime Minister Sir John Abbott, and a great-great-grandson of Anglican clergyman and McGill acting President John Bethune. Plummer's parents were divorced shortly after his birth, and he was brought up at the Abbott family home in Seneville, Quebec, outside Montreal. He is bilingual, speaking English and French fluently. Plummer is a second cousin of actor Nigel Bruce, the British actor, best known as Dr. Watson to Basil Rathbone's Sherlock Holmes, and Bruce's brother, Sir Michael Bruce, baronet and journalist. He had studied to be a concert pianist, but developed a love for the theatre at an early age. He began acting while he was living on Pine Avenue in Montreal and attending Montreal High. Plummer took up acting after seeing Laurence Olivier's film Henry V in 1946. His performance as Mr. Darcy in the production of Pride and Prejudice at Montreal High brought Christopher Plummer to the attention of Herbert Whittaker, the theatre critic of the Montreal Gazette. Whittaker, who was also amateur stage director of the Montreal Repertory Theatre, cast Plummer, aged 18, as Oedipus in Gotto's La Machine Infernale. Theatre: Plummer did his apprenticeship with the Canadian Repertory Company from 1948 to €50, appearing in 75 roles, including Cymbeline in 1948 and The Rivals in 1950. He acted with the Bermuda Repertory Theatre in 1952, appearing in many plays, including The Playboy of the Western World, The Royal Family, The Little Foxes, The Petrified Forest, and The Constant Wife. Broadway: Plummer made his Broadway debut in January 1953 in The Starcross Story, a show that closed on opening night. His next Broadway appearance, Home is the Hero, lasted 30 performances in September–October 1954. He appeared in support of Broadway legend Katharine Cornell and film legend Tyrone Power in The Dark Is Light Enough, which lasted 69 performances in February–April 1955. The play toured several cities, with Plummer serving as Power's understudy. Later that same year, he appeared in his first Broadway hit, opposite Julie Harris in Gina Newey's The Lark. After appearing in Night of the Auk, which was not a success, Plummer appeared in Elie Kazan's successful Broadway production of Archibald Mikhalich's Pulitzer Prize-winning play J.B. Plummer was nominated for his first Tony as Best Actor in Play. Plummer appeared less frequently on Broadway in the 1960s as he moved from New York to London. He appeared in the title role in a 1963 production of Bertolt Brecht's The Irresistible Rise of Arturo E, which did not succeed, but he had a great success in Peter Shaffer's The Royal Under the Sun, playing Conquistador Francisco Pizarro to David Carradine's Tony Award-nominated H.L. Olper. From May to June 1973, he appeared on Broadway as the title character in Cyrano, a musical adaptation of Edmond Rostand's 1897 play Cyrano de Bergerac by Anthony Burgess and Michael J. Lewis. For that performance, Plummer won the Tony Award for Best Actor in a Musical and a Drama Desk Award for Outstanding Performance. Later that year, he played Anton Chekhov in Neil Simon's adaptation of several Chekhov short stories, The Good Doctor. In the 1980s, he appeared on Broadway in two Shakespearean tragedies, Othello, playing Iago to James Earl Jones Muir, and the title role in Macbeth with Glenda Jackson playing his lady. His Iago brought him another Tony nomination. He appeared with Jason Robards in the 1994 revival of Harold Pinter's No Man's Land and had great success in 1997 in Barrymore, which he also toured with after a successful Broadway run. His turn as John Barrymore brought him his second Tony Award and a Drama Desk Award as Outstanding Actor in a Play. He was nominated for a Tony Award and a Drama Desk Award for his 2004 King Lear, and for a Tony playing Henry Drummond in the 2007 revival of Inherit the Wind. Stratford Festival. Plummer made his debut at the Stratford Shakespeare Festival in 1956, playing the title role in Henry V, which subsequently was performed that year at the Edinburgh Festival. He played the title role in Hamlet and Sir Andrew Aguicheek in Twelfth Night at Stratford in 1957. The following year, he played Leonce in The Winter's Tale, Bardolph, in Henry IV, Part 1, and Benedick in Much Ado About Nothing. In 1960, he played Philip the Bastard in King John and Mercutio in Romeo and Juliet. In 1962, he played the title roles in both Cyrano de Bergerac and Macbeth, returning in 1967 to play Mark Antony in Antony and Cleopatra. In 2002, he appeared in a lauded production of King Lear, directed by Jonathan Miller. The production successfully transferred to New York City's Lincoln Center in 2004. He returned to the stage at the Stratford Shakespeare Festival in August 2008 in a critically acclaimed performance as Julius Caesar in George Bernard Shaw's Caesar and Cleopatra, directed by Tony winner Des McAnuff. This production was videotaped and shown in high definition in Canadian cinemas on January 31, 2009 and broadcast on April 4, 2009 on Bravo. In Canada, Plummer returned to the Stratford Festival in the summer of 2010 in The Tempest as the lead character, Prospero, and again in the summer of 2012 in the one-man show, A Word or Two, an autobiographical exploration of his love of literature. In 2014 Plummer presented A Word or Two again, at the Armanson Theatre in Los Angeles, England. In April 1961, he appeared as Benedick in Much Ado About Nothing with the Royal Shakespeare Company at the Shakespeare Memorial Theatre in Stratford-upon-Avon, England. He also appeared with the RSC in May 1961 in the lead role of Richard III. He made his London debut on June 11, 1961 playing King Henry II and Gina Nuys Beckett with the RSC at the Aldwych Theatre, directed by Peter Hall. The production later transferred to the Globe for a December 1961 to April 1962 run. For his performance, Plummer won the Evening Standard Award for Best Actor. From June 1971 to January 1972, he appeared at the National Theatre, acting in repertory for the season. The plays he appeared in were Jean Giraud's Amphitryon 38 directed by Laurence Olivier, Georg Bar 1 Quarter Chner's Danton's Death, Adrian Mitchell's Tiger, Luigi Pirandello's The Rules of the Game, and Eugene O'Neill Long Day's Journey into Night at the New Theatre in London. Other venues, Edward Everett Horton hired Plummer to appear as Gerard in the 1953 roadshow production of Andrew Copyright Roussin's Nina, a role originated on Broadway by David Niven in 1951. He appeared as Jason opposite Dame Judith Anderson in Robinson Jeffers' adaptation of Medea at the Theatre Sarah Bernhardt in Paris in 1955. The American National Theatre and Academy production, directed by Guthrie McClintock, was part of Le Festival International. Also in 1955, he played Mark Antony in Julius Caesar and Ferdinand in The Tempest at the American Shakespeare Festival. He returned to the American Shakespeare Festival in 1981 to play the title role in Henry V. Plummer appeared in Lovers and Madmen at the Opera House, Kennedy Center, Washington, D.C. in 1973 and in Love and Masterful at the same venue in 1975. Love and Masterful consisted of selections from the works of William Shakespeare on the subject of love, arranged by Plummer. His co-stars were Zoe Caldwell, Bibi Anderson, and Leonard Nimoy. Plummer played Edgar in the Dr. Rose Drinks Before Dinner with the New York Shakespeare Festival at the Public Newman Theatre in New York City in 1978. Film. Plummer's movie career began in 1958 when Sidney Lumet cast him as a young writer and stage struck. That same year, he also appeared in Nicholas Ray's film of Bud Schulberg's Wind Across the Everglades. He did not appear on screen again for 6 years, until he appeared as the Emperor Commodus in Anthony Mann's epic The Fall of the Roman Empire. His next film, the Oscar-winning The Sound of Music, made cinematic history, becoming the all-time top-grossing film, eclipsing Gone with the Wind. Since then, he has appeared in a vast number of notable films, including Inside Daisy Clover, The Night of the Generals, Oedipus the King, The Royal Hunt of the Sun, Battle of Britain, Waterloo, The Man Who Would Be King, The Return of the Pink Panther, The Silent Partner, International Velvet, Murder by Decree, Somewhere in Time, Eyewitness, Dragnet, Shadow Dancing, Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, Malcolm X, Wolf, Dolores Claiborne, 12 Monkeys, Syriana, The New World, and The Lake House. In addition, Plummer was cast to replace Rex Harrison for the film adaptation of Dr. Dolittle. This decision was later reversed, but Plummer was nonetheless paid $87,500 for signing the contract. At the same time, Plummer was performing in the stage play The Royal Hunt of the Sun, and his whole Dolittle participation was so brief that Plummer never missed a performance. One of Plummer's most critically acclaimed roles was that of television journalist Mike Wallace in Michael Mann's Oscar-nominated The Insider, for which he won Boston, Los Angeles, and National Society of Film Critics Awards for Best Supporting Actor. He was also nominated for Chicago and Las Vegas Film Critics Awards, as well as a Satellite Award, though the predictions of an Oscar nomination never materialized. 1. In January 2010, Plummer received his first Academy Award nomination for his portrayal of author Leo Tolstoy in The Last Station. Speaking to the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation in an interview that aired on March 7, 2010, Plummer added, tongue-in-cheek, "Well, I said it's about time. I mean, I'm 80 years old, for God's sake. Have mercy." On Oscar night, March 7, 2010, however, he lost to Christoph Waltz. In 2012, he was nominated for his second Academy Award, again for Best Supporting Actor, for his performance in Beginners. He won the award on Oscar night, the 84th edition of the ceremony. This made him, at age 82, the oldest actor to win an Oscar. When he accepted the award, he responded, "You're only 2 years older than me, darling. Where have you been all my life?" Other recent successes include his roles as Dr. Rosen in Ron Howard's Academy Award-winning A Beautiful Mind, Arthur Case in Spike Lee's 2006 film Inside Man, and the philosopher Aristotle in Alexander, alongside Colin Farrell. In 2004, Plummer played John Adams Gates in National Treasure. Plummer has also done some voice work, such as his role of Henri the Pigeon in An American Tale, the villainous Grand Duke of Owls in Rock-a-Doodle, the antagonistic Charles Munson Up, and the elder leader one in the Tim Burton-produced action science fiction film 9. Documentaries. In 1963, he was the subject of a short National Film Board of Canada documentary, 30 Minutes, Mr. Plummer, directed by Anne-Claire Poirier. In 2011, he appeared in the feature-length documentary The Captains. The film, written and directed by William Shatner, sees Shatner interview Plummer at the Stratford Shakespeare Festival Theatre, where they talk about their young careers, long-lasting friendship, and Plummer's role as Chang in Star Trek VI. The film references that Shatner, 2 years Plummer's junior, was the other's understudy in a production of Henry V at the Stratford Shakespeare Festival. When Plummer had fallen ill, Shatner took the stage, earning his first big break. The Sound of Music. Owing to the box office success and continued popularity of The Sound of Music, Plummer remains widely known for his portrayal of Captain Von Trapp, a role he later described as so awful and sentimental and gooey. He found all aspects of making the film, except working with Andrews, unpleasant and avoids using its name, instead calling it That Movie, S&M, or The Sound of Mucus. He declined to attend the 40th anniversary cast reunion, but did provide commentary on the 2005 DVD release. Plummer relented in 2010 for the 45th anniversary, and appeared with a full cast on The Oprah Winfrey Show on October 28, 2010. Said Plummer of the film and his role in a December 2009 interview, "I was a bit bored with the character of Captain Von Trapp," said Plummer. "Although we worked hard enough to make him interesting, it was a bit like flogging a dead horse. And the subject matter is not mine. I mean, it can't a unregistered trademark T appeal to every person in the world." However, Plummer admits the film itself was well made and, despite his reservations, is proud to be associated with a film with such mass appeal. "The world has seen The Sound of Music so many times. And there's a whole new generation every year poor kids that have to sit through it," laughs. "But it was a very well-made movie, and it's a family movie and we haven't seen a family movie, I don't think, on that scale for ages. I don't unregistered trademark T mind that. It just happened to be not my particular cup of tea." His singing voice was mostly dubbed by Bill Lee. Television. Christopher Plummer made his television debut in the February 1953 Canadian Broadcasting Corporation production of Othello, starring Lorne Greene as the mayor. He appeared regularly on American television throughout the 1950s, appearing on both dramatic showcase programs like The Algo Hour, GE Truth Theatre, Craft Theatre and Omnibus and episodic series. In 1956, he appeared with Jason Robards and Constance Ford in an episode entitled A Thief There Was of CBS's anthology series Appointment with Adventure. In 1958, he appeared in the live television drama Little Moon of Alban with Julie Harris, for which he received his first Emmy Award nomination. He also appeared with Harris in the 1958 TV adaptation of Johnny Belinda and played Torvald Helmer to Harris Nora in a 1959 television version of Henrik Ibsen's A Doll's House. He also starred in the TV adaptations of Philip Barry's The Philadelphia Story, George Bernard Shaw's Captain Brassbound's Conversion, Gina Nui's Time Remembered, and Edmond Rostand's Cyrano de Bergerac. In 1964, his performance of the Gloomy Dane in the BBC production Hamlet at Elsinore garnered his second Emmy nomination. Another notable play in which he appeared was the 1974 adaptation of Arthur Miller's After the Fall, in which he played Quentin opposite Faye Dunaway's Maggie. He has appeared in almost 100 TV roles in all, including appearances as Herod Antipas in Jesus of Nazareth, the five-time Emmy Award-winning The Thorn Birds, the Emmy-winning Nuremberg, the Emmy-winning Little Moon of Alban and the Emmy-winning Money Changers. He co-starred in American Tragedy as F. Lee Bailey, and appeared in 4-Minute Mile, Miracle Planet, and a documentary by Rick Burns about Eugene O'Neill. He received an Emmy nomination for his performance in Our Fathers and reunited with Julie Andrews for a television production of On Golden Pond. He was the narrator for the Gospel of John. He also co-starred with Gregory Peck in The Scarlet and the Black. He narrated the animated television series Madeline, for which he received an Emmy, as well as the animated television series David the Gnome. Other works. Christopher Plummer has also written for the stage, television and the concert hall. Plummer and Sir Neville Marner rearranged Shakespeare's Henry V with Sir William Walton's music as a concert piece. They recorded the work with Marner's chamber orchestra the Academy of St. Martin in the Fields. He performed it and other works with the New York Philharmonic and Symphony Orchestras of London, Washington, D.C., Cleveland, Philadelphia, Minneapolis, Toronto, Vancouver and Halifax. With Marner he made his Carnegie Hall debut in his own arrangements of Mendelssohn's incidental music to A Midsummer Night's Dream. In 2000 he reprised his role from Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country and Star Trek, Klingon Academy, and in 2011, he took his second video game role as the narrator for the reveal trailer for The Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim, as well as doing the voice of Anjai, leader of the Greybeards, in said game. Honors and awards. Plummer has won many honors in Canada, the United Kingdom, the United States, and Austria. He was the first winner of Canada's Genie Award for Best Actor in Murder by Decree and has received 3 other Genie nominations. Plummer has won 2 Tony Awards, and 2 Emmy Awards in the United States, and Great Britain's Evening Standard Awards. In 1968, he was invested as Companion of the Order of Canada, at the time among Canada's highest civilian honours. In 2001, he received the Canadian Governor-General's Performing Arts Awards for Lifetime Artistic Achievement. He was made an Honorary Doctor of Fine Arts at New York's Juilliard School and has received honorary doctorates from the University of Toronto, Ryerson University, McGill University, the University of Western Ontario, the University of Ottawa, and most recently the University of Guelph. Plummer was inducted into the American Theatre Hall of Fame in 1986 and into Canada's Walk of Fame in Toronto in 1998. His awards include the following: London Evening Standard Award as Best Actor, for his portrayal of King Henry II in the stage play, Becket; Tony Award for Best Leading Actor in a Musical, for his lead role in Cyrano; Emmy Award, as Outstanding Lead Actor in a Limited Series for Arthur Haley's The Money Changers; Genie Award, for Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role in Murder by Decree; Emmy Award, for Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Voiceover Performance for his work on the Family Channel's Madeline children's series; Edwin Booth Lifetime Achievement Award; Tony Award for Best Performance by a Leading Actor in a Play, for his lead role in Barrymore; Los Angeles Film Critics Association Award for The Insider; Boston Society of Film Critics Award for The Insider; Jason Robards Award for Excellence in Theatre; Golden Globe Award Best Supporting Actor for Beginners; Academy Award Best Actor in a Supporting Role for Beginners. Personal life: Plummer has been married 3 times. His first marriage, to Tony Award-winning actress Tammy Grimes, was in 1956 and lasted 4 years. The couple's daughter, Amanda Plummer, is an acclaimed actress in her own right, but he had no contact with her during her early and teenage years. They now maintain a friendly relationship. Plummer was married to journalist Patricia Lewis from May 4, 1962 until their divorce in 1967. He and his third wife, British dancer and actress Elaine Taylor, have been married since 1968 and live in a 100-year-old converted farmhouse in Connecticut. In a 2005 interview with Entertainment Weekly, Plummer maintained that in their early days he and his fellow actors did not drink to excess, because we had problems. Nonsense. Actually, I was taught as a child to drink. I came from a family that loved wine. I was 12, I think, when I was drinking wine with dinner. Plummer's memoir, In Spite of Myself, was published by Knopf Publishing Group, a division of Random House, Incorporated, in November 2008. Plummer is a patron of Theatre Museum Canada. Filmography: see also, List of oldest and youngest Academy Award winners and nominees. References. External links: Christopher Plummer at the Internet Movie Database, Christopher Plummer at the Internet Broadway Database, Christopher Plummer at the Internet Off-Broadway Database, Christopher Plummer at the TCM Movie Database, Christopher Plummer at the Swedish Film Database, Christopher Plummer at AllMovie, Christopher Plummer at the Canadian Film Encyclopedia. Video, interview with Christopher Plummer on YouTube, Theatre Museum Canada, Confessions of Captain Von Trapp, an interview with Christopher Plummer.